Canto 1, Chapter 18. Parikshit cursed by a Brahmana boy. After explaining the rule of Maharaj Parikshit, Sutta Goswami begins to explain the events leading to his renouncing of the kingdom. Due to Krishna's mercy, Maharaj Parikshit could not be burned in his mother's womb, though he was struck by the Brahmastra. Being very surrendered to the Lord, Parikshit had the perfect consciousness. He was not overwhelmed by fear of Takshaka that was caused by the Brahmana's fury. Giving up all material association, he surrendered to Shukadeva Goswami as a disciple, and understanding the unconquerable Lord's actual situation, he gave up his body on the banks of the river Ganges. The key for glorious death is to follow in the footsteps of Parikshit Maharaj. Those who have dedicated their lives to the Lord's topics and those who are constantly remembering the Lord's lotus feet do not have any misconceptions even at the time of death. As long as powerful Parikshit was the emperor of earth, there was no chance for Kali to flourish, although he had entered the world on the very day and moment Lord Krishna had left. Maharaj Parikshit was not envious of Kali. Like a bee that accepts the essence of a flower, he knew the good quality of the age of Kali, that the auspicious acts bear effects just by intending to do them, whereas sinful acts, they bear result only by actually doing them. Kali is fearful for the less intelligent and not for the self-controlled devotees. Considering this, Maharaj Parikshit took care of all the foolish people. So, Sutta Goswami said, I have thus discussed almost everything you asked me in regards to the narrations of this pious Maharaj Parikshit in connection with Lord Krishna. Those who are desirous of perfection in life must submissively hear the topics concerning the transcendental qualities and wonderful activities of the Lord. Once Sutta Goswami spoke like this. The sages further asked Sutta Goswami. They told Sutta Goswami, O auspicious Sutta Goswami, you may live hundreds of years with eternal fame, since you narrate the nectar of Lord Sri Krishna to mere mortals like us. Our bodies are blackened by the smoke of this uncertain sacrifice, but we are so pleased by the intoxicating nectar of the lotus feet of Lord Sri Govinda. Even a moment of devotees' association cannot be compared to Swarga or liberation, what to speak of any worldly benedictions. We have no satiation in hearing these glories of Lord Sri Krishna, who is the exclusive shelter for all great devotees. His attributes cannot be measured by such masters of mystic powers like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. You have wonderful qualities of a speaker. You are speaking about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We have a lot of enthusiasm and eagerness to hear what you are speaking. The subject matter is so relishable. So therefore, please describe more about the Lord's magnanimous and pure pastimes. Parikshit attained the lotus feet of the Lord by hearing the Lord's topics spoken by Shukadev Goswami. Please describe all of that to us. These narrations about the Supreme Lord and his devotees are wonderful, full of bhakti, and they are very, very dear to all the devotees. Then, when Sutta Goswami was requested like this, Sutta Goswami began to glorify Lord Sri Krishna. Sutta Goswami said, there is immense power in chanting the holy names of the Lord. What then to speak of those who are under the direction of great devotees and chanting the holy names of Lord Ananta, who is unlimited in potency and transcendental by attributes? Because the Lord has unlimited energies, one of those energies will certainly destroy one's prarabdha karma by chanting his holy names. The goddess of fortune hankers for his service. There is no one equal to the unlimited Lord. Great demigods cannot obtain the favor of the goddess of fortune, but she serves the Lord, although he is unwilling to receive it. Who else but Lord Sri Krishna can be called as Bhagavan? The water from his toenails, Ganges, was collected by Lord Brahma, and it purifies the three worlds along with Lord Shiva. Those who are very attached to Krishna can immediately give up the attachment to other gross and subtle bodies and attain the Paramahamsa stage, in which non-violence and renunciation is consequential. I will describe Lord Vishnu's pastimes as far as my knowledge and realization allows me, like a bird that flies in the sky as far as its capacity allows. Rejoicing his good fortune, Sutta Goswami began to speak about Parikshit Maharaj again. Sutta Goswami said, once Maharaj Parikshit was fatigued and thirsty while hunting in the forest. In search of water, he entered the hermitage of Shamik Rishi, who was wrapped in meditation. The sage's senses, mind and intelligence were completely restrained. He was beyond the three states of existence, Jagrati, Swapna, and Shushupti, having attained the Brahmabhuta state. He was covered with a deer skin and had matted locks. Parikshit, at that time, while hunting, was thirsty, and he happened to enter the cottage of Shamik Rishi. When he saw Shamik Rishi, Parikshit asked him for water. The king, upon not being properly welcomed with a seat, water, and kind words, felt neglected and became angry. Actually, the sage was in deep meditation. But Parikshit, because of his anger that was caused due to hunger and thirst, became spiteful and envious towards the Brahmana. Then he angrily placed a lifeless snake on the sage's shoulder with his bow and then returned back to his palace. Parikshit Maharaj, being distressed by hunger and thirst, was only a show, because he was not disturbed by the glaring heat of the Brahmastra even in the womb of his mother. One should not think that he had committed a sin because of bad habits. It was the desire of the Lord to appear in the form of the Srimad Bhagavatam. That is the reason this whole episode took place. But after Maharaj Parikshit had done this act, he had a contemplation. He was thinking, was Shamik Rishi really in Samadhi? Or was he feigning trance to avoid a Shatrabandhu? Thinking like this, he went back to his palace. But however, the sage's powerful son Shringi, while playing with other boys, heard about the king's offense to his father. And Shringi uttered these words. Shringi, he had attained Brahminical qualification both by power, birth, and training, but he was lacking the culture due to inexperience. So, therefore, he was puffed up with Brahminical power because of the influence of Kali. So, with his proud words, Shringi uttered, oh, just look at the sins of the rulers who, like crows and watchdogs at the door, perpetrate sins against their masters. The kings are designated as watchdogs by the Brahmanas. And how can dogs that guard the door enter the house and dine with the master on the same plate? After Lord Sri Krishna's departure, these upstarts have flourished. Therefore, I myself shall punish them. Just witness my power. With red hot eyes with anger, he touched the water of the Kaushika river and discharged the following thunderbolt of words. On the seventh day from today, a snake bird will bite the wretched one of that dynasty, Maharaj Parikshit, for breaking the etiquette by insulting my father. He then returned home. Seeing the snake around his father's neck, he cried loudly, and hearing his son crying, Shamik Rishi finally opened his eyes and he saw the dead snake. He threw off the dead snake and asked if someone had harmed his son. Shringi then explained what had happened. Shamik Rishi, after hearing about the curse of his son, was not at all pleased with his son. He said, "Oh, you have committed such a great sin. For such an insignificant offense by Parikshit, you have given him such a great punishment. Due to your immature knowledge, you do not know what the king is. He is the best among all humans, and he is as good as the Supreme Lord. Citizens live in prosperity, being protected by his great prowess. The Lord is represented by the monarchical regime. When this is abolished, the world becomes filled with thieves and the unprotected people scatter like lambs. Great social disruption will follow. Proper conduct of men prescribed through Varnashram as per Vedas will be destroyed. There will be unwanted population on the level of dogs and monkeys. Maharaj Parikshit was so pious, a Mahabhagavat, a Raj Rishi, and he has performed many horse sacrifices. He doesn't deserve to be cursed, that too when he was fatigued by hunger and thirst. Shamik Rishi then prayed for his son. He said, "May the Lord pardon this boy who, due to immature intelligence, committed the sin of cursing a sinless devotee who deserved to be protected." Devotees are so forbearing that in spite of being defamed, cheated, cursed, disturbed, neglected, or even killed, they are never inclined to avenge themselves, although they are completely capable to do so. The devotee of a Lord is actually more powerful than a Brahmana, but a powerful devotee never misuses the power for personal benefit. Whatever power he may have is always utilized in the service towards the Lord and his devotees only. The sage regretted his son's sin. He did not take the king's insult seriously. Transcendentalists, although engaged by others in the dualities of the material world, are not distressed, nor do they take pleasure in worldly things. This completes the summary of Canto 1, Chapter 18. Hare Krishna.